Hello, sunshines. How are you? Welcome to BunniPhish Crafts. I'm your host, Heather, known as BunniPhish on Instagram, YouTube, and Patreon. Today is Wednesday, the 8th of February. Yes, 2023. And this is episode 6. Oh my goodness. I sat down to record and then just... It's right after school, so I'm just coming to chat with you because I was gonna record on Monday and then I didn't, and whatever. I took a day off work on Monday because I had like nausea and stuff, hormone related junk. And then yesterday I was just super angry and cranky and ragey. So here I am today and I'm feeling fabulous today. A little fatigued, a little bit of crampage, but mostly fine. So let's check in. I went to work and then I left work early, like real early. I wasn't there very long, only an hour. I had like a whole day that I didn't plan to have to myself. And it was a whole day that as long as I was sitting, I was fine. Like the pain wasn't overwhelming. So as long as I was sitting, I was fine. But if I was standing, then my lower back and my legs started hurting really bad. So I came home and I stayed in my bed and it was lovely and I was very productive. I did some letter writing and I did some reading and I did some knitting. Did I crochet? I don't think I crocheted. I was here last time you saw it, so I have done just about a repeat, a little less than a full repeat since last I showed it to you. But I feel like I'm right on track. I am on the last of these heart images, motifs. Yes, that's the word. I was going to say decal, and I was like, that's not right. So I'm on the last of the heart motifs. I've used up 2 full balls and about half of a ball of the darker pink. So I'm right on track to where I wanted to be for the yarn. More than, how much do I have left? I think I had, when I weighed this before I started using it again, I had like 40 grams left. So it's probably closer to 30 or 25 now. So I'm doing good because I bought 5 balls of yarn for it. So yeah, the baby blanket is coming along. I think it looks really cute. Oh, it's gonna be cute. Okay. I'm pleased with how that's looking. That's super cute. I have ends to weave in on 4 of the hearts. So probably do that on Saturday at the shop. I don't think the ends will bother me too much in the meantime. But we'll see. Maybe I'll weave it in sooner, maybe not. Sorry, I keep putting the blanket in front of my face. That's terrible. So that blanket is Paris by Cali Baby Chic. The yarn that I'm using is Cascade 220 Superwash for the hearts and the main background. And then the white that I used for the cross and I'll be using for most of the border is Mano Stella Uruguay Allegria Grande. Okay, so next on my lap is my exploration station. I was working on this a couple days ago and I was like, oh, I don't think I've made very much progress. I was working on it on Monday because I hadn't finished this wedge and I'm only like halfway through the wedge and I was like, oh, that's not very much progress. And then I actually looked. So I was only halfway through this wedge and now I'm halfway through another wedge. So that's actually quite a lot of knitting. I don't know how many stitches I have on the needle right now. I don't count. I don't really care, if I'm honest. So I'm on the last wedge of this section. It's so pretty. Can you see it better if I do this? Maybe you can see it better if I do that. So Exploration Station by Stephen West. I will put pictures of the tags of the yarn on the screen here so you can see. If you have any questions about a particular yarn, go ahead and drop it below. My goal for this project, in case you're new here, because there are some new people, welcome, the new 3 or 4 of you, however many there are. So good to have you. I'm glad you're here. So my goal for this shawl is just to have it finished this year. So every week I'm trying to do about an hour of work. I'm doing it as part of a knit along with some friends. It's very loosey-goosey. We started it around the first of the year. One of my friends has already made 2 exploration stations. The other friend, I think, has just finished their exploration station. I'm not that worried about it. I will have this exploration station for the next cold season. Probably not this one. That's okay. I do have, a big-ish shawl. That the exploration station, I think, is going to be the next size up from this shawl. Which this is the Haze by Josh Rybinski. Not a recent FO, but I am wearing it today. I wear it a lot at school because it's pretty big and cozy, but it also, in the way of knitwear, like it's not too big and it squishes down. Small enough. It's a 3 skein shawl. It has some fading going on. I chose skeins that were really, really close together, so you can't really see the fading in mine because that's what I wanted to do with it. All right, so those are my 2 big projects that I don't really carry around, so they're just stuck in the house. And then small projects, I worked just a little bit on my unique sock, the second tube sock. So that's how that is going. Not a ton of progress. Again, just a bit. I don't... What am I trying to say? Is my cat outside? I hear meowing. I'll be back. Pause. I don't have a particular time frame. Hi, love. For that sock. It's for me. It's a tube sock. My goal is just to work on it at all during this month. It's a really good take to work sock because right now it's just stockinette for a little while. He was outside, by the way. This is my cat Colby. My dog Molly is on the bed. So if you hear weird animal sounds, it's because I have them. Hello, my love. You're very handsome. Okay, goodbye. Personal space. He says, no, I do not believe in it. Get him. You gonna sit in my lap? What you need? Do you need more pets? Okay. Thank you. Perfect. Yes, perfect. Yes. So, I also started. So those are all my whips. No, not all of my whips. Let's talk about my other whip before we talk about what I started. It's in this bag. Last month I test knit a sock for Alendria Knits, and you are very invasive, dude. And it's this Heartsplosion sock. So I finished the first one during the test knit period, as was required, and then I set the second one aside because I had other things going on, and I don't remember where I was last I showed you, but I did cast on the cuff for the second one. I have not started the body yet because just because I didn't have it next to me on Monday when I was in bed. Or maybe I did. Maybe I did the cuff then. I don't remember. I have no idea when I did the cuff. I just haven't started the color work chart, but I will. Are you serious right now? Did you see me on the screen and you went to look? You went to look to find me? You're very cute. You're very sweet. Look, it's you. Who is that? Oh. That was... My cat has never really looked at the screen before when I've been recording, and he was just like, It's very funny. So maybe I was going to work on it yesterday after school, but then it was cloudy, and I know on the screen it looks like there's high contrast, and there is, but not when you're knitting with black yarn. That's the reality. So I need to knit on it in sunlight to be able to make sure that I'm doing my ladder back to card stitches the right way and making sure I'm doing my color work the right way. So maybe I'll work on it today. Okay. And then I cast on a new project, testing again for Alendria Knits. She just has a lot of designs that I think are cute right now. So this is not yet. Oh, can I show this? I don't know if I can show this. Yeah, I think she's shown pictures. I better not. I better not show the whole thing. Okay, I'll show you like this. So there's a sock that she designed that it's a DK weight sock. I'm using Sport that has a cuff detail and then is patterned on the foot. And it's super cute. So I'm testing it, and I'm really far because it's, a heavier weight sock. I am about to start the heel. The yarn that I'm using is the same that I used for the test knit that I did for her last month for the DK weight socks that weren't DK. This is Shipwreck Sheep in, I don't know. I don't remember the colorway. Quartz maybe. And then this is Fiber Nymph Dye Works in an anniversary colorway. So yeah, I shouldn't show that to you. I don't know. I can't remember if she's posted it on her Instagram or if she's only posted photos in the test Instagram chat. So I started that, and I'm to the heel on the first one. It's super, super fast. I'll put in the heel. I'll probably put in the heel tonight so that I can work on it tomorrow at school, because it's easy enough that I can walk around and work on it. Yeah, I think that would be the best, because on Friday I'm going to a basketball game, and I was knitting this sock on a pair of metal needles, like a 9-inch, 10-inch circular, 1-inch. I don't know. I was knitting it on a small circular. Apparently it's motorcycle season. It's a little bit sunny today. People are like, ooh, bikes out, because there's no snow. Sorry. We get a lot of bikes here. It's not even a main road, but it's in between two pretty main roads. So anyway, what was I saying? Oh, I was knitting it on a metal circular, but it has like a coated cable, and the coating detached from the needle as I was knitting. So then there was a big gap. So the needle is no longer. Luckily, I had a bamboo 9-inch circular in the correct size. So I have that in there. And so I'm going to this basketball game. I'm pretty sure they have some sort of bag restriction or whatever. But I'm going to take my knitting, and I would be much more comfortable trying to take bamboo needles versus metal needles. That's where I was going with that. So I think that what I'm going to try to do is finish this sock between tomorrow and Friday. Because if I finish the first sock, then I will know how much yarn I would need to wind off to get through the cuff and the heel. I seriously doubt I would get further than that at a basketball game. However, I am knitting a small, there's 5 sizes in the pattern, and I'm doing the small/medium size. So there aren't very many stitches around. And it knits up fast. So if I finish the first sock, then I'll know how many repeats of the yarn to wind off from the self-striping yarn, so I don't have to bring the whole cake. And then I'll just be carrying what's left of this ball when I get there. So that will be even smaller. So it'll just make it even more portable. I could bring the unique sock and make a whole bunch of progress on that, but again, it's metal needles, so I'd rather bring bamboo needles. I feel like I'll be more likely to get through security that way, and then I'll be able to knit at the game. I am going to cast on another new project today, though. I am going to cast on a pair of gloves. I'm going to look through my patterns and see what I have for gloves. I know I have a few patterns, so I haven't decided which one I'm going to make. I'm making finger and weight gloves for my kid's dad. And it's out of this really lovely, like moody rainbow of a yarn. It's dark, but it's got like purples and blues and yellow, gold. So it's really, really lovely. The colors today are not accurate. It's a little bit dark in my room because it's winterish time. Well, it's springish time. And then just because it's here, I did on whatever day that was, Sunday, start hemming my pants. This is the first pant leg. I got 3/4 of the way around, and then I was like, I don't want to do this anymore on the first pant leg. So I guess since I'm sitting here, I will go ahead and finish off this pant leg and attach the thread to the other pant leg. So at least I'm like started on it. We have casual the rest of the week, so I don't need it for this week, but maybe I'll finish it so I can wear it on Monday when we have to be business again, especially because it's so super easy. It's just a running stitch. I'm just doing a running stitch on the edge of the, what is this, houndstooth? So you can't really see the stitch. It's in black. So yeah, I'm going to do that. And since I'm sitting here, I'm going to do a length of thread on there. And then I am going to do my evening stuff. I need to study a little bit tonight. I need to read. Oh, reading. Okay, so I have been reading Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, and it's pretty good. I'm hooked now. It's got me. I'm liking it a lot. It's cute. It's a YA romance book. It's competitive. I feel like maybe there's going to be a twist later with the competition. So, like the main characters, I feel like are going to be pitted against each other at some point because of a competition. But we'll see. Maybe that's just me thinking, patterns and stuff, but it could happen. Apparently I'm going to sew this pant leg while I'm talking to you about books. I also am reading the one with swears in it, Unf Your Habitat, which I am enjoying. A fair bit of it is content that I've picked up because the author, Rachel Hoffman, has an Instagram called UFYH, short for Unf Your Habitat. And before that, I think there was like a Tumblr or something. I don't know. Some sort of bloggy thing that I stumbled across so long ago. So some of what she's talking about in the book is stuff that I've already consumed elsewhere content-wise, but some of it is new content or thinking about things in a different way than I've seen them presented previously by her. So that is really cool and interesting. And I haven't 100% decided if I'm going to put it on my personal wish list. If I see it while I'm out shopping at Second and Charles, I'll pick it up sort of deal. I don't go to real bookstores. just secondhand ones. But I really like it so far, and I'm finding it very worthwhile. And I also appreciate, my favorite thing about the book is that she is very inclusive. She's like, not everything's going to work for everybody. People have disabilities, people have depression, people have lives, people have small spaces, people have whole houses. Like, these are all realities for some people and not others. So why would you try to use something that's tailored for a very specific group? And here are ideas to modify. And I don't know. I just feel like it's a lot more general and a lot less specifically geared. And the book also says, hey, you live in your house. It's never going to be 100% clean. So get rid of that idea because you live there, which I appreciate. Like, that's a thing that I know, but sometimes I forget that. So anyway, I'm really enjoying that. And then yesterday I started another book because I finished Book of Night, on Sunday. So I started reading Belle by Cameron Dokey. And when I recorded last week, the week before, I don't remember, about going to the library, I think it was the week before. And I was talking about the stack of books. I mentioned that I had a retelling of Beauty and the Beast. I don't recall if I mentioned that the author's name seemed familiar, but I couldn't put my finger on it. So I read this book, Belle. I read it, but I read it a long, long time. I may even own it. It may be living on the shelf that's like right behind where you're sitting, because there is a series of books called Once Upon a Time, and it's a retelling of fairy tales, and Cameron Dokey, and I think there's another author or two. I feel like one of them may have the first name Suzanne. I don't remember for sure. Trying to remember back to middle school days. I loved those books. I bought them at the book fair. I bought them at B. Dalton back in the day. Yeah, I just loved those books so much. So silly that I didn't have that sooner. I love those books so much. And so I've read this book before. I don't remember everything that happens, but I have read the first 2 chapters, and like, it's kind of like when you're talking to a friend about someone that you both used to be friends with. Does that make sense? Like, it's not like talking to an old friend, but it's like hearing about an old friend from someone who you're fond of. That's how I feel about reading this book, because I'm like, oh yes, I do sort of recall this, and I kind of recall what's going to happen at the end, but I don't really recall. I don't know. I'm enjoying it, so I know I will like it. And obviously I will know how the story ends because it's a retelling of Beauty and the Beast, which I love. Love fairy tale retellings. Funny story. Funny to me. Not funny, but like amusing to me story. I had Belle on my cart at school today. I'm a technology teacher and I teach off of a cart. I travel around with my cart to classrooms. Anyway, one of my 6th graders, end of the day, she was like, oh, are you reading a new book? And I said, yeah, it's a retelling of a fairy tale. It's like one of my comfort reads, like that genre. I like fairy tale retelling. She's like, really? I hate them. Like, I just read one and it took me almost a month to read. And normally I read books in a week. And I was like, interesting. Nothing wrong with that. She also told me it was a Jack and the Beanstalk retelling, and I was like, oh, I Jack in the Beanstalk retelling. I think I said that word wrong the first time. And I was like, oh yeah, I probably wouldn't like that. I don't really like books where the main characters are boys. If I'm being 100% honest, I don't enjoy it. I would rather read about a girl any day. There are a couple notable exceptions, like Tristan Strong punched a hole in the sky or something. I don't remember exactly what that's called. But I did really like that book. But for the most part, I would much rather read about girls and women. So anyway, that was my book story from today. But yeah, I really enjoyed that moment that I shared with a 6th grader. I'm carrying it around as an emotional support book because I don't actually have time to read at school. I don't. I could theoretically read on my lunch break, but even when I was a para, like I couldn't read at school. Couldn't read even on my lunch break. It's just too hectic and whatever. But I've needed to carry around the book as emotional support the last couple days just to know it's there. Periods are ridiculous, y'all. All right, I am rambling. I will check in with you again later this week. Bye for now. Hey, sunshines. Welcome back. It is Sunday, the 12th of February. How are you? I am doing okay. Hi, Peanut. You're fine. Go lay down. She's a beautiful girl. Yes, go lay down. I am doing really well. I feel like I lost today because yesterday I got home from work and then slept from 5 p.m. until 5 a.m. this morning. But I'm pretty sure that's just because I went out to a basketball game the night before and was really social and introvert energy drained. But it was super, super fun. The basketball game was a lot of fun. I think my kids had an okay time. My best friend had fun, which is important. She's never been to a basketball game before, and she had so much fun people watching. The kids were sitting in between us, so I couldn't explain the game to her as it was going. I don't know a lot about basketball. I really don't. I don't know that much. I couldn't coach it or anything at a middle school level, but I do know how points are scored and why they have free throws and stuff like that. And yeah, I know basic things about basketball. So after the game, she was like, so why did they do this? And what does this mean? And so I explained it all to her and she was like, oh, that makes so much sense. Okay. We're not sporty people, but I like going to sporting events because I love the energy of a crowd. It's like the same thing as a concert. Well, it's not quite as good as the energy at a concert, but it's similar to the energy from a concert. I had so much fun. Anyway, let's talk about some knitting and crochet, shall we? Ba-da-ba-da. I have done more than a repeat this week. Pretty pleased with it. This is where I was when I worked this and then I showed it to you on whatever day I recorded, and then I worked a little bit more. So making good progress. I have all of the heart motifs in. So all of the color work motifs are in. Now I just need to knit this amount of pink with no motifs. I am hoping that now that I'm through the color work parts to get through 2 repeats a week, because then I will be, if I can do that, then I can finish the main body of this blanket by the end of the month and do the border in March. That is my hope, so that this can be off the needles. It's the Paris Baby Blanket by Cali Baby Chic. The color work portions are my own. That's not included in the pattern. I need to take it with me on Monday and weave in these ends. So yeah, that's how the baby blanket is going. It's going pretty well. I'm going to put in a little bit of work on it today, but not a lot, not a focus today. Hello, please stop. What? You want to come up here? Oh my goodness. The animals are so needy this morning. Pause. Have I worked on my exploration station at all this week? No, I don't think so. I'm going to work on it today. So, nothing to show for exploration station this week. I'll show you next time I record. I did put in a big chunk of work on the test knit socks, which I can show you. It's called Cuff It Real Good. So here's the first sock. I'm sorry. I'm not complaining about the sunshine today. I'm going to take a little walk today and take myself to the library. I know I've been doing that like every Sunday and I really like it. So I'm going to do it again today. And I'm excited that it's sunny out. It's just going to be so nice. Like, even though it's still cold out, it'll be nice to walk in the woods through sun. So here's the first Cuff It Real Good sock. And it is a little, it's got cables and ribbing. It works up real fast because it's a sport, well, it's a DK weight sock. I'm using sport weight, but it's close enough. Yeah, so it's going really well. I am pleased with how it's going. Here's the second sock, and I'm on the gusset. However, as I was saying on whatever day I recorded, I had intent to start. This is the first sock, not the second sock. I had intended to start the second sock, and I did, and I took it to the basketball game. I finished the cuff. I did a little bit of the leg, just barely started. I only took a little bit of yarn because I was like, I'm going to be at a sporting event. I don't know how much knitting I'm going to do. Definitely not a whole sock. And I brought, just the right amount. The game got really, really intense. It went into double overtime. Very exciting. No, you can't go in the window because then I have to mess with the curtain. So go do something else. Excuse me, sir. What? You stop. You both be nice to each other. If you want to lay down, lay down. It's fine. You're going to be nice. You're going to... Oh, you're going to let him. You're going to let him lay down. You are not. You don't need to yell at him. You don't need to yell at him. She's so grumpy. She's just a little grumpy old lady. She's very grumpy, and her little brother is irritating and going in the curtain. So many edits for the sun today. Okay, so I started the second one. I took it with me. It went pretty well. Yeah, but it's just barely started, and I can't work on this one because it's on the wrong size needle. I was working on the first one, and my needle broke. I had a Mindful, Knitter's Pride Mindful needle on it, and like the cable, so it's one of these, and the cable right here totally separated. I don't even know how that happened. Like the coating came off and then the metal cable inside totally snapped. So that's kind of frustrating. Especially because I haven't used that particular needle very much. But it happens. So I only have one needle in the appropriate size. I was going to buy one yesterday when I was working at the yarn shop, but we didn't have the size I needed. So that's kind of a bummer. Next time we're putting in a needle order, I'm just going to have to make sure we're getting that size needle so I can replace it in my set. But here we are. That's where I am on the second sock. I did make them match, so that's pretty good. I just cast it on before I left, so I had a little tiny, let's see, where's that? There's that. I wound off half of a color repeat. There it is. And so this is what I have left of that. I wound off half because you might remember from the other test knit that I did, the Texture Me sock. This colorway has a stripe that's the same as this yarn. So that stripe falls right after this yellow right here. So I'll have to go back to the ball to get this green, but I would have had to break the yarn there anyway because of the stripe. So that's how much I wound off to take with me. And yeah, it's going well. Probably just going to keep working on this sock for a little while because I need to go back and I don't know if I'm going to fix it or if I'm just going to leave it. I haven't decided. I mean, the recipient won't notice. So I'm probably going to leave it. But right after right here, this cable right here, right after where I put in the heel, I missed a round. There's one too few rounds of just plain pattern in between a set of cables. So I know it's there and it's fine. I might leave it or I might drop back just those sections and fix them. I haven't decided yet, but this is on hold anyway because I don't have another appropriate size needle. So I'm just going to be working on this one. And this works really, really well for work knitting. So that's awesome. The colorful yarn is Fiber Nymph Dye Works. The gray yarn is Shipwrecked Sheep. And I literally just pulled out a chunk of the center, and as much as came out in that moment is how much I took to the game. So that is that set of socks. Hopefully I will have a bunch to show you on the second sock next week. I also cast on the mitten. Just barely. I cast it on yesterday and I think I did 2 rounds on it. So there's not much to see. This is going to be a knotty mitten. It is a pattern from Knitty. I have knit it before and it's really, really pretty. It's a cabled glove pattern. But it starts off with a really long 2x2 rib cuff. It says it's a free pattern. So I think, right? It's a free pattern from Knitty. Maybe it's not. So it says to go a certain length for the cuff. I'm just going to go to 30 rounds. That way I can make sure that both of my cuffs match. And again, this is now just 2x2 ribbing, so it's going to be really easy to carry around. I have not worked on my unique sock, mostly because I didn't take it off of this chair and put it back in my bag. So it didn't go with me to work. So, that'll get some work at some point, but it's not high priority. On the book front, I finished Belle. Was I even reading that when I checked in with you? See, I don't remember when I checked in with you. I know it wasn't on Monday, but I started reading Belle on Tuesday and I finished it yesterday. It is by Cameron Dokey and I really, really liked it. I read it a long time ago, like in high school maybe. I don't 100% remember. It may have been middle school. I am pretty sure that I own a copy of it. I definitely owned a copy of it at one point in time. But I know I read it and it was really enjoyable, really quick read. I feel like the universe was, telling me to focus on me because I really like this retelling because the beast is barely even a part of it. He's not even introduced in the first half of the book. The idea of something in the woods is there, but that's just a part of the story. It's not the important part of Belle's story right away. Belle's story is the important part of the story. And I really, really like that retelling. There's, it's Beauty and the Beast. So there's the whole saving the beast and stuff and whatever, breaking the spell. But that's it's not an afterthought, but it feels afterthought-ish, but in a nice way. That's not the most important thing in her life sort of way, which I really, really like. So I really appreciate that. And I feel like the universe was like, hey, I know Valentine's Day is coming. Don't let it get you down because society and stuff, and Valentine's Day is not a great day for me. So, I feel like there was something I wanted to say about that because I talked about the bad Valentine's Day experience when I was a little kid. I talked about that. I touched on that earlier this year. It was a big, I don't think that I said that it was the big fight that led to my parents' divorce. Like, the big fight happened on Valentine's Day, and then, like, my life got upended for a while. My siblings and I, with our mom, we went into hiding at one of her friends' houses for like a week or something. And then we were inside a women's shelter for a month. I had to go to a different school than my regular school. And it was so weird because I didn't know anybody and I had to like start doing all of this work. And I remember, like, it was sometime in March because I remember that one day we did a St. Patty's Day project. So, like, yeah, it was so weird. And it was a very, very weird time in my life. And my body remembers Valentine's Day. Like, Valentine's Day happens and the trauma stored in my body is like, oh no, this is a bad day. This is a bad day. It doesn't matter what happens on that day. My body is like, so I think the universe was like, hey, work on your stuff, lady. Work on your stuff. So I'm trying. I'm working on that. I'm still reading Unf Your Habitat. Just, I didn't read anything except Belle for the past few days because I wasn't reading, but really still enjoying the mindfulness that goes into the thought behind the cleaning of the things. Really enjoying that. And then I'm still reading Highly Suspicious and Unfairly Cute, which is cute, which is really interesting. I like that one of the main characters has OCD and anxiety, and I like that that's a part of the story. Like, it's a regular part of the story. It's not anything that's wrong with him. It's just, this is part of who he is, and it's done really, really well. And it's kind of nice that the two main characters have known each other forever, because it's interesting to hear them compare when they were little versus like now they're teenagers and they're getting ready to go to university and stuff. That I like it. It's a really cool juxtaposition. I don't have very much to go in that book, so I will likely finish it this coming week. Maybe today, because I'm taking myself to the library, so we'll see. I haven't decided which book I'm taking with me to the library. I might finish Unf Your Habitat today. It depends on which one I take with me. Whichever one I take with me is getting finished within the next couple days. But I am going to start a new book, and that is Lake Silence by Anne Bishop. I don't think I've read this book before. It's part of the World of the Others books, and I read all of the ones that take place in where does it take place? Is there a map in this book? I don't know. Oh, there it is. Okay. So, Lakeside. So there's a place called Lakeside, and I've read all of the books that take place in Lakeside. And I've read some of the books that take place in Hub Northeast. But I don't think I've read this book. Like that map, these places don't sound super familiar. And I flipped to a part in the book when I saw this because I was like, did I read that one? I don't remember. I read just a tiny bit of the front of what's this called? I read a tiny portion of that. The name didn't strike a bell. So I was like, okay, maybe not. And then I flipped to a place in the middle and read a couple paragraphs. And the paragraphs that I read, I feel were quite distinct. And if I had read them before, I would remember because they talk about, I don't know, something orange, like orange socks or orange something. Now I can't remember what it was because I didn't want to hold on to the detail because I'm going to read it. But I feel like if I had read it before, I would remember the orange socks or something because it seems pretty important to the characters. So I don't think I've read this, but if it's a reread, it's fine. I was looking at the books that I got out from the library and I just wasn't feeling starting another YA book, which is so weird for me because YA is usually my go-to, but I guess because I just read Belle and I'm reading Highly Suspicious, like it makes sense to want to go to an adult science fiction book. So yeah, that's where I'm at for reading. That's where I'm at for crafting. I'm going to let you go and do a thread's worth of snowflakes on here. I also haven't touched these pants since I last recorded. So I'm going to go ahead and do a length worth of sewing on these pants and get that second leg partially hemmed. Yeah, that's where I'm going to go with that. So I hope that when you see this, it brings you a little relaxation or a little something, some good times, a little brightness in your day. I'm having trouble with the closing of my vlog today. Whatever. Ooh, I dyed my hair also. I re-dyed my green streak and I can't get over how much I love it. I thought I didn't want it when I dyed my hair red, so I just dyed over it. And then it's been slowly fading, like the red has slowly been fading out and the green has been showing through. And I was like, you know what? It's just time. It's time to have that green back. So I'm excited that it's here. All right, friends, I am going to go get my Sunday underway and I will talk to you in about a week. Bye for now.